The old king came towards him in a dressing-gown and embroidered slippers. He had the crown on his head, a sceptre in one hand and the orb in the other.
Wait a little.
He put the orb under his arm so that he could reach out his hand to John. But as soon as he learned that his visitor was a suitor, he began to weep so violently that both the sceptre and the orb fell to the ground, and he was obliged to wipe his eyes with his dressing-gown. Poor old king.
Give it up. You will fare badly as all the others have done. Well, you shall see.
Then he led him out into the princess's pleasure garden. That was a terrible sight. In every tree there hung 3 or 4 kings' sons who had wooed the princess, but had not been able to guess the riddle she proposed to them. Each time the breeze blew, all the skeletons rattled so that the little birds were frightened and never dared come into the garden. All the flowers were tied up to human bones, and in the flower pots skulls stood and grinned. That was certainly a strange garden for a princess.
Here you see it. It will happen to you, as it's happened to all you see here. You'd better give it up. You will really make me unhappy, for I take these things very much to heart.
John kissed the good old king's hand, and said it would go well, for he was quite enchanted with the beautiful princess. Then the princess herself came riding into the courtyard with all her ladies. And they went out to her and wished her good morning. She was beautiful to look at, and she gave John her hand. And he cared much more for her then than before. She could certainly not be a wicked witch, as the people asserted. Then they went to the hall, and little pages waited upon them with preserves and gingerbread nuts. But the old king was quite sorrowful. He could not eat anything at all, and besides, gingerbread nuts were too hard for him. It was settled that John should go to the palace again the next morning. Then the judges and the whole council would be assembled and would hear how he got on with his answers.